All right. This will be the last topic of today. And amazingly, this is a pretty controversial topic in some spaces. So this is a huge topic in the business world, is how do we create a more inclusive workplace? And organizational behavior has a whole lot to say on this. We're going to get into this topic in more detail later. We're talking about stereotypes and perception and all that stuff. And also, leadership, it's going to come up again. But really, when it comes to the workplace, we need to try to get an inclusive workplace. And so what is an inclusive workplace? It is one that values people of all identities. All right. And diversity is a valued resource. And we'll get more into that in a moment. And we can demonstrate that value at both individual level and at the collective level. Basically, as I mentioned to you before, you got to get more from people than what they're willing to give you. All right, you got to get them to work harder and do more than bare minimum. They will only do that if they feel like they're really part of the team. And if they feel like you do not value them, or if you are antagonistic against them, then they're not going to give you that. All right. And there's a theory of leadership called LMX. We're going to get more into it later. And basically it says, if people don't feel like they're part of the organization, if they're part of the team, then they're never going to perform well for you. It's only if we can get people to feel like they're really part of the team can we get them to perform. And that's basically the diversity argument, is that if we don't do things to make sure that people feel valued and respected, then they're never going to work that hard for us, or as hard as they could, or maybe as hard as they want to. And so with this, we have something called surface level diversity and deep level diversity. And once again, we're going to explore these topics in more detail later. But basically, surface level diversity that's the diversity we usually pay attention to. It's the diversity that is obvious. It is what, when you look at somebody, is the diversity that you see for the most part. It is their age, their gender, their ethnicity, race, to some extent, religion as well, gender identity, sexual orientation, all that stuff. All right. And then we have deep level diversity. Deep level diversity is differences in personality. It's differences in that human capital, the knowledge, ability, skills, and other characteristics. So it's differences in values. It's differences in what people know and how they think and all that, and what they believe. And I would say there is a relationship between surface level diversity and deep level diversity, because what you know and what you think and what you believe to a very large extent is going to be determined by how the world treats and interacts with you. How the world treats and interacts with you is going to be, unfortunately, strongly determined by that surface level diversity stuff. Heard a quote once, and this was actually applied to Instagram models, but I think it actually applies here too, which is basically the most interesting thing about you shouldn't be what you look like. So in other words, the most interesting thing or most important things about you shouldn't necessarily be that surface level diversity, but really the deep level diversity. That is what we really need to accomplish and get. But, it is related to the surface level diversity. All the stuff at the surface level diversity level, so race, ethnicity, age, like I said, is strongly influenced. It strongly influences how the world interacts with you and how the world treats you. And you're going to build values and personality and all sorts of stuff based off how the world treats you.